Hello and welcome back to another episode of All About Gaming. This is episode 2. Of course, the last one was the pilot. So today I'm just going to talk about what we're going through. Mostly it's gaming news. I'd love to be able to talk about PS5, but we're still a day or two away, and I was a bit stuck should I delay the episode and talk about it. But even when I do that, I still wouldn't have enough hands-on time to really talk about it. So I figured I would leave that to the next episode. And also I'll be doing an unboxing video probably when I get it and talking a bit about it then. So it seemed okay to just do the episode now and then we'll talk about it next week. So yeah, so today it's a bit of a rock and a hard place really because the games I've been playing is kind of games I talked about last week. But I can maybe talk a little bit more about them. So mainly this week it's just going to be all about the gaming news because there's actually quite a bit to get through. So let's start, shall we? I'll just get the old iPad because I've got I call it the PlayPad because it's got a sort of worn out PlayStation sticker on it now. It's kind of a bit worn out. It's had it really, but oh well, what can you do? I'm just going to get the gaming news up then and we'll talk about that. There's been absolutely tons this week. There's been quite a lot to talk about. It's just a shame we have to wait a week for the PlayStation 5. But at recording this, there's only 2 days to go now. I hope you like my nice background I made if you're watching on YouTube. If not, obviously, if you're listening on iTunes somewhere like that, you can't see it. But I've got a cool new background I made. I animated it, which I'm quite pleased about. It's only basic animation, but I never knew how to animate anything before anyway, so I kind of figured that one out and I thought, oh, that was quite cool. So I'll stick with it. Like I say, if you're listening, you've no clue what I'm talking about, so maybe you should check out the channel. Okay, so one of the first things in gaming news, I'll need to find jingles for these things, but like obviously I don't have an intro song. I've now got the background and the logo, but I've no intro music. I've been trying to figure that one out. So if anyone's got any talent and wants to send me an intro for the music, or if you just know where I should look, then that would be really helpful to know. I'd also quite like a little jingle for the news as well, but I don't really need it. It's just something I've always done in other podcasts. But anyway, time for the gaming news. I'm not going to make a big deal about it. I'm just going to type the gaming news. Okay, so the first thing I've noticed, which I actually quite liked, was the Xbox tweeted out like good luck messages to PlayStation, and I just thought I'd highlight this because I think it's quite nice that everybody's sort of sending each other good luck messages and saying thank you and all that. So Aaron Greenberg, who's obviously executive at Microsoft, he tweeted, wishing all my friends over at PlayStation, yours, etc., the best for the big launch tomorrow. No matter where you game, I love how it unites us, brings us so much joy and connects us all together around the world. Hashtag gamers first. Isn't that nice? And following this up, Xbox tweeted, generation after generation, it's a pleasure to game alongside you. Happy launch day, PlayStation. Obviously, that was the launch date for PlayStation America, not for us. Us poor people have to wait another week. But yeah, really nice. Nice to see that. I'm pretty sure there was another tweet from Phil Spencer doing the same thing as well. So it is really nice. So I had to highlight it because we're all playing games at the end of the day, and who cares where you're playing? It doesn't matter, does it? Doesn't matter. Just enjoy them. Okay, so sticking with Xbox, it was the biggest launch in Xbox history. They launched consoles in more countries than any other launch, which obviously more consoles sold at any other launch as well than any other previous gen. More games were played, and 70% of the new consoles were also attached to Games Pass, which is pretty impressive, isn't it? I mean, but it makes total sense, doesn't it? Because Game Pass is really good. So I mean, on launch day, I mean, I've obviously, like I say, I don't have the Xbox Series X, but I've been using my PC instead. And I got Game Pass on that, so I can obviously see a lot of the games that's on there. And probably the biggest one that stands out for me is Tetris Effect, which I've been playing a lot of. We can maybe talk about that in a sec. I'm sure I mentioned it last week though. So yeah, so it makes sense. 70% attached to Game Pass. It's a no-brainer really. If you've got an Xbox, you should probably get Game Pass. Uh, Apparently, there's going to be Xbox shortages until April. So if you're looking for one now at Christmas, whatever, chances are you're going to be pretty lucky if you get one. It's probably going to be the same with PlayStation as well. I did tweet out earlier at underscore Wata, if you want to follow me, that that PlayStation and Amazon are going to have PlayStation 5s on launch day in the UK after midday. So if you're after a PlayStation 5, then there's definitely going to be some after midday, although don't expect them to be abundant. There's going to be a very limited amount. So just warning you now that you should probably keep your eye on Amazon at midday and just don't move from the page, and then you might, with any luck, get one. Okay, so this is what CFO of Xbox, Tim Stewart, said about the shortages. He says, I think we'll continue to see supply shortages as we head into the post-holiday quarter. So Microsoft's quarter three, which is from January 1st to 31st of March, he says, when we get quarter four, all of our supply chain continuing to go full speed ahead into kind of pre-summer months. And that's where I started to see a bit more demand to the supply profile, meeting the demand. So you'll be outside the holiday window and they'll have the supply crank up over the next 4, 5, 6 months. So, and that's when he's really starting to see the demand being met. So you're talking about April time before Xbox expecting to have enough consoles to sort of serve the people who want one. So you can bet that'll be the same with PlayStation as well. Moving on to our news, Ghost of Tsushima, I always worry I'm going to say that wrong, it's sold over 5 million copies. So that's very impressive indeed. It's a very impressive game. I know a lot of people are probably wanting to play it on PlayStation 5, and with the Legends multiplayer mode runs at 60 frames per second on PlayStation 5. So I've kind of not finished the game. I've played a lot of it, but I was just thinking to myself, well, it might be quite nice to just finish it up on PlayStation 5. There's a few games like Spider-Man. I've completed Spider-Man, but I've not actually uh, completed 100% the trophies and stuff. So I was just going to go back with the PlayStation 5 version and wrap things up now. So there's a few games I want to play on PlayStation 5 that I haven't quite wrapped up on PlayStation 4, but I'm not sure that trophies carry over. So you play on PlayStation 5, the saves might carry over, but I'm not sure if it will unlock the trophies. So it's a bit of a blow, isn't it? So we're just going to need to see what happens there, if it's patched in later, if it will ever happen. I don't know, but at least you'll be able to continue your progress, and that's something, isn't it? So yeah, let's see how that goes. Uh, Apparently, there's a day one patch improves the backward compatibility speeds on PlayStation 4. So this will be for like the loading and things like that. So that's going to be good. All the games kind of load faster, even on PlayStation 4 now, thanks to these patches. So that's just a bit crazy. But hey, no one can complain about that. Uh, the remastered Neo 1 and 2 arrives this February on PS5. It's 4K at 100, not 4K at 120 frames per second. It's 4K, or it also runs at 120 frames per second, whatever one you want to use. And also it'll have faster load times and all the DLC included as well. That's pretty cool. Right, the next thing I wrote down it's the little things. Now the reason I wrote that is because I noticed something on Twitter which I thought was pretty cool. Uh, on the DualSense in Resident Evil 5, uh, when you're close to getting killed, well, the light on the DualSense is green, but as you sort of get damaged, it starts to turn orange and then it slowly turns to red, so that you know you're kind of in danger. And then if you sort of get out of danger and you're sort of getting your health back, the light then slowly turns back to green again. How cool is that? That's what I mean by the little things. That's a cool little thing that I quite like the sound of. Okay, excuse me, I just need to cough. Right, Spider-Man has been patched with the ability to transfer saves, new benchmark rewards, in-game option to upgrade, photo mode updates, and a depth of field slider as well. So you can now transfer your save from Spider-Man PS4 to Spider-Man PS5 Remastered. That's pretty cool. Pleased about that. That's they weren't going to do that at all. So that's actually a really good thing that they're doing there. There's also been general improvements for performance to HDR and ray tracing. So there we go. It's nice that we're getting these fixes in before it launches here. So the Americans has got beta testers for us, really, aren't they? Next bit of news is regarding the charts. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has launched and it's actually beat Call of Duty to #1. It's one of the biggest. It says here, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is the best-selling UK box game. It has sold more than double its predecessor, so more than double Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is just pretty amazing, really. Obviously, this doesn't take into account digital sales, it's only taken into account the physical sales, but it's still pretty impressive. Very impressive indeed. Another thing which is quite impressive is it sold 42% of its copies in PS4, 18% on PS5, which isn't even out here yet, and the rest sold on Xbox. So yeah, and what's quite impressive about that is all the marketing was on Xbox. So it's actually just, it's done really, really well on PlayStation as well. So that's quite impressive. Call of Duty Black Ops wasn't exactly a failure. Apparently, it set a new record as the highest first day digital sales worldwide in franchise history. So it could be that Call of Duty did outsell Assassin's Creed when you include the digital sales as well. But I'm not 100% sure because we don't have the data, so we can only go by being what we're being told, really. It will be interesting to see what happens when the Assassin's Creed digital sales come out and you sort of combine them and compare the two, but we might never get to see that. Either way, it's kind of a huge win for Ubisoft anyway. Should also mention about the charts that Sackboy: A Big Adventure was number 13 and Godfall was number 16. Sackboy saw 89% of its sales coming on the PlayStation 5 version, so again, that's pretty impressive. The final bit of news is that PlayStation 5 has a new firmware update. This is basically to improve system stability, although I haven't seen any note of what it actually does from users on forums or Reddit or in Twitter, anything like that. So I'm not entirely 100% sure if it's going to make any significant improvements, but hopefully it just fixes some of the little bugs that we've been seeing appear since the American launch, and hopefully they'll be fixed in time for when we get it on Thursday, which is just a few days' time. And how exciting is that? Okay, so that's the gaming news. Now, since last week, I've been playing Watch Dogs again and some Tetris Effect, and I've also had a wee jump into Star Wars Squadrons, which I have to say has been quite improved by the installation of a GTX 3080. I don't know if anyone's been playing Star Wars Squadrons. It'd be quite nice to get your opinions if you've been playing it because I quite like it, but it does really feel like it's been built for VR, doesn't it? I mean, everything about it, even when you're playing non-VR, just feels like it should be in VR. And just what I'm talking about is mainly the scenes in between the dogfighting and stuff where you're looking around and you just can tell that it's been built with that in mind. But I do think it's a really good game. Actually, I really enjoy it. I love the dogfighting. I love the missions in it. It reminds me so much of X-Wing, which I absolutely loved, and I'd love a new X-Wing. So, I mean, I think it's brilliant. I really, really like it. If you've not checked it out, I think you should. What's quite interesting, actually, is what I liked about X-Wing is when you would play and you would do the missions, you would get these patches. It was almost like Call of Duty when you're playing multiplayer and you get the medals and things. I really like that, and X-Wing the way you get promoted and get the progression and you could get all these ranks and stuff. That was so good. I absolutely loved that game. So yeah, it's got a real nostalgic thing about it, Star Wars Squadron, so much I really like. I've not played it in multiplayer because, to be honest, I'm not really interested in playing multiplayer. But the single player is really good. So if you've not had the chance to check it out, I definitely would because it's really good. Tetris Effect, I said quite a lot about that last week, didn't I? But I've almost completed the single player now. I've just been totally hooked on it. It's so good. I know I said this last week, but you just need to play it. It's brilliant. Put some headphones on, listen to the music, and just watch as it all comes together. And just I've told so many people and places got Twitter to play it, and they've been playing it, and totally agreeing with me that it's just a really great game. So if you've not checked it out, you have to do that. The other game I've been playing really is Watch Dogs. Now I talked a bit about this last week too. I'm kind of getting a bit bored of it now, but I still really like it. It's just one of these games that you can just wander about the city doing the different things, recruiting people. It gets a bit repetitive, and that's what I've been finding about it. That it's getting a bit like this is getting boring now, but I still quite like it. It's just the graphics really get you as well. It's really nice to look at, so it's pretty cool to just spend some time and take some screenshots and photo shots and things like that. What's a photo shot? A screenshot and a photo. What's a photo shot? Is that like a fancy way of saying a screenshot? Because I don't know where I got that one from. It's nice to take some screenshots and some photo shots. What? What am I talking about? Honestly, geez, sometimes I do wonder about myself. I don't know. Anyway, I've completely lost my train of thought now because I was talking load of rubbish. Uh, yeah, but it's just nice to walk about, take some screenshots of all the ray tracing and all that. It's really nice. It's nice to look at, but like I say, a bit repetitive. Now, what I didn't realise is if you play Assassin's Creed, I bought the PlayStation 5 version of Assassin's Creed and I also bought the PlayStation 5 version of Spider-Man Miles Morales. And what I didn't realise is you actually get the PlayStation 4 version for free, even if you buy the PS5 versions. Because I thought to myself, I'm not going to bother getting the PS4 version and upgrading. I'll just go straight to the PlayStation 5 version because that's what I'm going to buy anyway. But you still get the PlayStation 4 version for free. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? Because it turns out I did need the PlayStation 4 version because my son wants to play Miles Morales. He's still got PS4, he's not going to get PS5, so I've just made his system the primary, which means he can play all my PlayStation 4 games and any that I get for free by upgrading, and then I can still play on mine. And what's cool is with this, the way it works, because I noticed that don't know what the dog's doing behind me. She just doesn't seem to be able to settle down. Sorry if you're listening, the dog's just making a lot of noise. There she goes. She's fine. Is she going to lie down? Is she did? Is she? Hey, there she goes. Good. Right. She's settled. No, she, no, she hasn't. Right. Come on, dog. Right. That's it. Okay, now I can think about what I'm talking about. Honestly, I'll get there eventually. Yeah, so you can make the PlayStation 4 primary, but you can also make a PlayStation 5 primary. So that means if you're signed in PS4, you can also sign in your same account on PS5 and it doesn't mess with each other. So that's good. So realistically, if someone in the house has got a PS4, they can play the likes of Miles Morales and Assassin's Creed on your account at the same time you play it on your account, or they could play if their system's set as the primary for your account, they could play on their account on their PS4 while you play games on the PS5. So that's pretty awesome. So I've got the PS4 versions of Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs, which I could be playing and talking about, but I decided no, I'm going to wait in the PlayStation 5 version. So what that means is that I've been playing Watch Dogs, Tetris, bit of Star Wars Squadrons, and I've not actually got any new games to talk about until I play them. Because I just wanted to save the impressions for the PlayStation 5 so that I can talk about them in this podcast. I can talk about them on my channel, and I think that will just be excellent. That'll be a lot of fun. Now, what I'm really looking forward to doing is the sort of unboxing video for the PlayStation 5 this Friday, this Thursday, sorry. I wish I could sort of, I'm kind of getting a bit jealous I don't have an Xbox Series X because I'd love to just have it here right now and just talk about it with you and show it off. So I knew that would happen. I knew I'd get a bit, because I've had the Xbox at once. I never had the original Xbox, but I had the Xbox 360. I had the Xbox One. I got Xbox One S, but I never got an Xbox One X because God, that naming's confusing. They say that name's not confusing, but when you're trying to get it in your head, Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, you're thinking to yourself, right, I need to say the right one. And I was thinking to myself there, I'm not saying the right one, am I? Oh, I got them right though, so that's a bonus. Anyway, I had those. I never got the One X because I thought to myself, well, the Series X was announced round about that time, wasn't it? So I thought, well, I'm not going to buy a new console for a year Because you're paying, what do you pay, £450 for the One X, and then a year later the Series X comes out? So I'm not going to throw my money away. No way was I doing that. I mean, I bought the PS4 Pro, and that was probably, at least that was a few years, I think, in between, so that wasn't quite as bad. But I think the One X, what, about for about a year before the new one came out, so there was no way I was going to splash money out in it. And then, do you know what? I was all for getting a Series X. That's the thing. I'd saved up £700, and I thought, right, hopefully that'll be enough to buy the PS5 and the Series X. And it turns out it's only £100 short, so that's not bad. So what I decided to do when Microsoft Flight Simulator came out, I saw it and I thought, oh, I need to play that. So I was really excited about playing it, and I thought, oh, how can I play it? Because my PC at the time was basically a load of rubbish. So there was talk about all these new graphics cards and stuff, and then Microsoft slowly started introducing the Game Pass to the PC and saying that all our games are basically coming to PC. So I thought to myself, nah, that's it. I've got to upgrade my PC, and I'll no bother with a Series X. I'll just make my Xbox my Series X, which I've done now. And I think it was a good decision because I'm able to play the games from Xbox, and I can still stick to PS5 and play the games from them as well. So I kind of, again, even though I'm not getting Series X, I'm still able to play all the games, which is what I really want to do because that's all I care about. Honestly, I don't care if I could play all my PlayStation games on PC and could only play the Xbox games on Xbox. I'd probably buy an Xbox and not a PlayStation. It doesn't really matter. All I want to do is be able to play the games. I mean, at the end of the day, the machine isn't really that important. I mean, I like the quirky things about the PlayStation 5 with the UI and stuff, but we can talk about more about them later. But at the end of the day, it's all about the games, and that's really what's important. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with the decision to go PC and PS5. I do wish I had an Xbox Series X here though, just so I could hold it and talk about it. Because I mean, it is a pretty cool looking device, isn't it? So I kind of, although I don't regret upgrading to the PC, kind of just still miss having the actual physical console. So if you see me with one in a year or two, then don't be surprised because chances are maybe I'll end up getting one for another room or something. And I'll probably end up with a second PlayStation 5 as well. I'll probably buy a digital one for upstairs or something. I wouldn't be surprised. It's not exactly something I haven't done before. I think I had 4 PlayStation 4s or something. Although 2 of them's the special edition ones, which I've just kept and I've not opened, so they're still on my shelf. So yeah, I'm glad I found something to talk about. Just the excitement, that's what I'm talking about, and it's just a shame. There's obviously some people now who've got the Xbox Series X in the UK since it came out last week, and they're probably sitting playing it now and just thinking, "Oh, this is great! I'm in the next gen now." Well, the rest of us who are waiting PlayStation 5 are just sitting here thinking, "Oh, we wish we had it now. We just want to play." So yeah, so excited. Can't wait. Okay, so anyway, what I'd quite like to know is what you're looking forward to. So if you're listening, watching, please comment or tweet me at underscore what and let me know what it is you're looking forward to. I mean, there's so many games coming out. I'll be playing Spider-Man Miles Morales for sure. As I mentioned, I've also ordered Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'd like to play Little Big Planet as well because I think that's going to be awesome. It just looks quite fun. And I also want to play, there's so many, isn't there? Astrobot. That'll probably be the first thing I play, Astrobot, I think, because it just looks so much fun. It'll get you used to the controller. I'm really excited for that. So I think my order is probably Astrobot, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Little Big Planet, and Assassin's Creed's a sort of game that you can just spend loads of time over. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. That'll be good. I did kind of want to check out Godfall. That's one that was on my radar for so long, but unfortunately, it's kind of looking like it's not very good. I still might check it out, but I think I'll wait till it's a bit cheaper. And then, of course, we've got Cyberpunk coming, which I was quite tempted to play on PC actually, because you get the best of the ray tracing, but I'm still a bit undecided. I think one of my most highly anticipated games for PlayStation 5 though is Kena, Bridge of Spirits. That looks absolutely awesome. And that's coming out Q1 2021, I believe, along with Ratchet and Clank, also Q1 2021, and a Gran Turismo, which is also meant to be Q1 2021. And then for the second half of the year, you've meant to have Horizon and also God of War. So what a year next year could be, eh? That sounds absolutely amazing. So there's a lot to look forward to. So let me know what it is you're anticipating the most, because I'd really like to know. Comment, tweet me, whatever. And what I'm going to try and do is stick to around 30 minutes each episode of these podcasts, since I'm on my own at the moment. If there's guests in the future, which there probably will be, then obviously it might stretch a bit over that. But because I'm on my own, I'm just going to talk about game news, what I've been playing, and then you tweet, comment, we can just discuss that as well. So I hope you're enjoying the episodes. It's going to take me a wee while to get into it, I suppose, because I've not really done one my own before, but I just really wanted to do it just because I just love talking about games, so I don't see the harm in just doing one my own. So I've been quite looking forward to it. So hopefully you're enjoying listening, and I'm sure they'll get better as we go on. At the moment, you can watch here on YouTube, or you can listen on Podbean. I'll be submitting them to iTunes, and in the future, Spotify, Amazon, Google, and all the other places. So you should be able to listen everywhere round about the fifth, sixth episode. But for now, it's just Podbean, YouTube, and hopefully in a few weeks iTunes. So if you've got any comments, or you just want to chat about anything at all, tweet me, comment below. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next week for the exciting episode where I can finally talk about PlayStation 5. Before that, make sure you check out the videos that will be coming up. There'll definitely be an unboxing for PlayStation 5 with my first look at it. There might be some more impression videos for some of the games as well. We'll see how all that goes. But in the meantime, thanks for listening. It's really appreciated, and I'll see you next time. Bye.